Well, hey everyone, welcome to this video on how to improve your body language as a speaker. If this is the first time you've seen one of my videos, let me introduce myself. My name is Wade Patterson and my YouTube channel is all about impactful communication. I want to help you become a better communicator because communication is so important, whether it's business, whether it's work, whether it's a relationship. Communication skills are essential, and public speaking is a scary and intimidating thing. My YouTube channel is all about how to help you navigate through public speaking and different situations and ultimately be more confident and become really a better leader in a lot of ways. So if that is something that interests you, please subscribe to my channel because I plan on putting out a lot more content just like this video. So body language is an interesting one because it is one of the most important skills to leverage as a public speaker. In a few other videos that you can find on my YouTube channel, I've talked about three numbers. These numbers are 55, 38, 7. And why I reference these is because these numbers are each percentages that break down how a message is communicated. So 55% is really body language. So body language, the way somebody is moving, facial expressions, all of those sorts of things, that is 55% of a message being communicated. 38% is vocal tone and variety. And the example I love to use is thinking about sarcasm, saying something like, "I am so excited to be here. Thank you so much for watching my video," versus, "I'm so excited to be here. Thank you so much for watching this video. It means the world to me." Two sentences where I said basically the exact same thing meant very different things based on the way I said them. And that is how you can see that 38% is vocal tone and variety, because the way your voice is really helps indicate what you are trying to communicate. And then that brings us to that last number, which is 7, which is only 7% of a message being communicated is the actual words that we say. This is something that is critical when you think about text emails or text messages or any digital communication where we don't have body language and we don't have voice. We are missing out on 93% of the way a message is communicated. So this goes back to that 55% being body language, such an essential piece of how you get across what it is you intend to communicate. I think the best way to tackle this video is to talk about some of the common mistakes that I see other speakers make when it comes to not leveraging body language in a good way. And when we're giving a speech, most of the time it will be in a situation where maybe there's a small crowd, but there's often a lectern or there's something there that we can hold on to or stand behind. And it might sound intimidating, it might sound crazy, but my first piece of advice for taking your body language to the next level as a speaker is to move that lectern out of the way completely so that it is just you in front of the audience, nothing standing in between. Many speakers use the lectern as a crutch and they grip onto it and they hold it, and that is their stability, and it makes them feel perhaps a little bit more comfortable. But when your arms are holding on to something, that takes away all the ability to be using them to communicate and to be leveraging that body language, which is going to help, again, make you a more impactful speaker. That is one reason. The second reason is that the lectern will be completely blocking your body, which eliminates your opportunity to move around, make purposeful movements in front of the crowd, which again is going to add impact to whatever it is that you're speaking about to the audience. While I give the example of a lectern, you can replace that with a lot of different things. Sometimes there's a chair that's nearby. A lot of people grip on a chair. Next time you're at a situation where people are public speaking, just watch how many people hang on to something, even if it's a table or something. There's this inherent need to stabilize ourselves, I think. But the truth is, we will be fine standing up, allowing our arms to fall to our sides, not in our pockets, because that's another mistake. People often bury their hands in their pockets, which again prohibits that ability to bring up the hands and communicate with them. But by having your arms at your side, having free space to be able to walk around as you're talking, that is going to help separate you from being an okay or a good speaker into a speaker that is phenomenal, where people afterward are talking about, wow, that individual is an incredible speaker, by that simple thing that you were the only person who maybe didn't hold on to that lectern. It's crazy how much that can change. So you may be asking yourself, well, Wade, I have notes that I need to reference. Therefore, I need to stand behind the lectern. I hear your point on this. I have two arguments to it. First off, the more you can speak without reading notes, especially word for word, that is going, again, to make a better speech. Individuals who stand up and hold a piece of paper and read every word off of it sound very monotone, and that is not make for a great speaker. A great speaker knows what he or she is going to talk about. And sure, you can have notes, but those notes, my suggestion would be, they should be subtle references to things that you are knowledgeable about, that you know you're going to talk about. For example, if you're giving a speech about yourself and growing up in the town or city that you grew up in, you don't need to read off anything word for word. That is information that you know inside and out. Maybe you have a story about your friend Bob that you want to remember to tell. Great, just put story about friend Bob in the part of your notes where chronologically it makes sense. And when you look at that piece of paper, that will just trigger your memory to tell a story that you're already familiar with telling. If it's a more detailed presentation of something that maybe you aren't as familiar with, you can have some notes. But my suggestion, in order to still get that lectern out of the way, is to have it off to the side and have your notes sitting there. That way you can subtly look and reference the little keywords and trigger points that are going to remind you what you're going to speak about, and then you can turn back to the audience and fully communicate. The more you practice, the less you're going to need to reference that piece of paper. And again, the less you're using notes, especially if you can use no notes at all, the less need you'll need for a lectern, and the more opportunity there will be for you to practice body language and to really make the audience connect with what you are talking about. My next piece of advice is to make purposeful movements. Now, while body language is incredibly important, I have seen speakers who move around too much. That is a thing. They're all over the stage, they're constantly moving around, and all of their movement almost becomes more distracting from the speech itself, and it makes it difficult for the audience to connect with what they're talking about. Instead of doing that, I suggest you do move, but you make those movements purposeful. Therefore, if you're talking about a time that you were playing baseball, the lead up to the big moment, you could be standing still with your hands at your side, explaining this, bringing them up from time to time to explain, but then it's that moment when you step up to the plate, you have the bat there, you hit the ball, you start running. These are the moments where you can actually move around the stage or the floor area, wherever you're speaking, however the setup is. That is a time where it actually makes sense, because the audience now is connecting and visualizing you playing baseball, you being at the plate, you running the bases. Your body language is helping them to make that connection. Whereas there's sometimes where we're talking about something that doesn't require all that movement. So be purposeful with the movements, make sure it adds to the speech rather than takes away from it. There's a habit that I had for a long time, which is a bad habit, and I've seen many other people have this, and I like to call it the invisible table. So while you may be using your hands as body language, sometimes when you're standing up, your hands stay above this angle where they never drop down to your side. And that is the best place for them to be. When you're in resting position and you're speaking, your hands should just be set to your side, bringing them up only when you need to utilize them. But instead, some people get in this situation where they're using it all the time, but their hands never actually drop down. They stay around here, or maybe as they're talking, they clasp their hands and they talk. And again, this may be more of an advanced tip, but the advanced tip is, while it's great you're using your hands, allow them to fall to the side. Don't keep them up at this, 90-degree angle. I'm bad with angles and geometry and all of that. But that flat angle, you want to keep them down at your side and then bringing them up for those purposeful movements. A final thing to be mindful of when it comes to body language is that you're not blocking anybody out. If you're in a room where people are sat in almost a horseshoe style seating arrangement, sometimes it can be tempting to turn and completely face somebody directly. But if you're doing that, and this is the seating alignment, that may mean that your backside is facing the people on this side, and well, I'm sure you have a great backside. That's not the best way that you want to be facing your audience. You want to be in a situation where everyone is included, no matter what you're talking about, any of those situations. So again, you don't want to walk too far up the horseshoe where now most people are looking at your back. You want to always be in a position where people can see the front of you. You're speaking to them. Again, move around. You can move around the room, move around the stage, but keep your audience in front of them so they can almost all of the time see your face. There may be some exceptions to this, but for the most part, don't be one of those speakers who walk so far that people are craning their necks to try and see where you have gone. You want to, in general, keep most of your audience able to easily see you. You can also be mindful of various objects in the room. I've seen some awkward conference rooms where there's a pillar right in the middle, and that is up to you as the speaker. If that's the case and it's impossible for everyone to see you at once, then that may be a situation where you do have to move around a little bit and ensure that you're making eye contact and that people can most of the time see you and the body language you're bringing to that speech. I hope that these tips on how to enhance your body language when speaking have been helpful. If you haven't already done so, please subscribe to my channel. It would mean a lot to me. I am passionate about making videos about impactful communication. And please like this video, comment below. Did I miss anything about body language? Give your suggestions. Maybe I'll have to do a second part to this video because there are so many things to think about when it comes to body language. Otherwise, I hope you enjoyed this video and have an awesome day.